Welcome to the Animal Team channel. I want to tell you an interesting fact about panda. Like and subscribe to my channel. The panda or bamboo bear has a unique appearance and is more like a toy, while the size of the animal is such that you cannot say about them that they are toys. It is difficult to find a more interesting creature that would be distinguished by such frank clumsiness and such frank charm. In fact, the panda is not such a simple animal anymore. This bear was hidden from scientists almost until the second half of the century before last, so for a long time they could not understand what kind of animal it was and believed that it was a big raccoon. Nowadays, the giant panda or bamboo bear is considered a national treasure of China, and its logo adorns the World Wildlife Fund. The giant panda is a species of mammalian animal from the bear family and the order of carnivores. For the first time this beast was described by Armand David only in 1869. As for China, the locals knew about the existence of this unique animal and called it the polar bear. The Chinese also called this mammal bearcat at one time. Despite the fact that the locals believed that the panda is a bear, scientists could not agree with this for a long time. The fault was the unique structure of the dental system and a tail too long, like for a bear. For many years, scientists thought it was a raccoon, albeit a comparatively large one. Interesting fact! To date, scientists know of two types of pandas, large and small. The large one belongs to the bear family, and the small one belongs to the canine family. 2008 was a fateful year for the panda as scientists began researching genetic information. As a result of the research, it was proved that the panda is still a bear, and its closest relative is a spectacled bear, whose homeland is South America. Australian paleontologist E. Tenius took up a more serious study of this animal and made interesting conclusions. By 16 signs, he managed to prove that the panda is a bear, by 5 signs that this animal is a raccoon, and by 12 signs that this is a purely individual animal, which can be called a giant panda or a bamboo bear. Based on the research of American scientists, science concluded that the giant panda diverged from the line of development of bears about 18 million years ago. The giant panda is characterized by the fact that it has the usual dimensions for a bear. It grows to almost 2 meters and can weigh about 160 kilograms. The head of the beast is round and massive, and the tail is short. On this we can say that the typicality of a panda in relation to bears ends, and you can begin to list the individualities. The giant panda, as for a bear, is characterized by an unusual coat color. The coloring of this animal is so interesting that it is better for a panda to take part in a carnival procession. To date, scientists cannot understand what the nature of body color is connected with. According to some experts, this is a camouflage coloring, since initially these animals lived high in the mountains, where there is a lot of snow and all year round. The presence of black and white spots allowed the bear to disguise itself among the snow and rocks. The strange shape of the baculum. The baculum is the bone of the penis, which was formed from connective tissues. This element is present not only in the panda, but also in other mammals. Quite another thing is strange. The baculum is directed not forward, but backward, while it differs in an S shape. Differs amble, thanks to massive shoulders and an enlarged neck area, as well as reduced hind legs. In this regard, the gait of the bamboo bear is associated with an awkward originality. The structure of the jaws is also peculiar and is associated with the presence of wide molars compared with the teeth of ordinary bears. The jaws are powerful enough to eat very tough bamboo stalks. Interesting to know, the walls of the panda's stomach are quite powerful, while there is always a thick layer of mucus on its walls. A similar structure of the stomach helps the animal to digest coarse food of plant origin. The unusual structure of the front paws, which is associated with the presence of 6 fingers. 5 fingers are held together, and one, the 6th, points to the side and represents the panda's thumb. The 6th finger is nothing more than a process of bone, with the help of which the bear easily copes with bamboo shoots and eats them. The nature of behavior and lifestyle. The giant panda is an animal that prefers to lead a hidden lifestyle, so for a long time specialists could not find out anything concrete about it. The real problems began when the bamboo bear was on the verge of extinction as a species. As a result, environmental authorities sounded the alarm, and the further fate of this animal was decided at the state level. They began to create protected areas for it. After this negative factor, the panda turned out to be in full view, and the person managed to learn a lot of interesting facts about it. The giant panda has a very calm disposition, while it represents a huge ball of nobility and importance. She moves slowly, as if she wants to show herself in all her glory, sometimes with some arrogance. This animal has an absolutely peaceful disposition, but this does not mean at all that the animal has no self-esteem at all. A panda can always stand up for itself if provoked. Interesting facts. The bamboo bear is considered to be a very unique animal if you pay attention to its postures. He is able to just sit like a man, leaning his back against an object, leaning his head on his paw. Just a unique sight. The giant panda does not have a mobile lifestyle, and it seems to many that this animal is too lazy. Some joke that the panda is so lazy that it has problems with reproduction. As for the real reasons, this laziness is associated with the physiological features of the structure of the body and food. Since bamboo shoots form the basis of the diet, it does not have large reserves of nutrients at all, which requires a reasonable energy expenditure. To replenish its body with calories, this animal has to eat almost 12 hours a day. After that, having had enough, the panda picks up a suitable place and falls asleep. It turns out that not a large number of calories are spent on getting food, but she does not have enough calories for more. Experts have noticed that when kept in captivity, where there are no problems with food, the panda behaves more energetically. This animal, in comparison with some types of bears, does not hibernate. The panda just moves to the places where it is a little warmer for the winter. As a rule, giant pandas prefer to live alone, and only during the breeding season can they meet each other without problems, and the rest of the time they jealously guard their territory. This type of behavior is most likely due to the fact that it is rather problematic for pandas to feed themselves in one area. To form a den for itself, the panda uses natural hiding places. They can swim, but they are afraid of water and will not climb into the water without special need. They always hide from the rain, and they will not swim in the pool, but at the same time they are very clean animals. Pandas are considered especially attractive and unique, mothers from whom you can learn tenderness and caring. They play with their offspring to enjoy it. Very often they wake them up just to play. Giant pandas are more silent and do not make any sounds unnecessarily. Few people know that this animal is capable of making quite loud sounds, especially in a state of overexcitation. From the voice of this animal, the windows in the building can tremble. Pandas do not show hostility, including towards people. They quickly get used to a person at a young age and remember their nickname. Lifespan in the natural habitat, rare individuals live up to 20 years. While in zoos, their life expectancy reaches 30 years, or even more. To date, scientists have identified 2 subspecies of the giant panda. They are Ailuropoda melanoleuca is a subspecies that lives exclusively in Sichuan province in China. Ailuropoda melanoleuca jinlingensis can be considered as an independent subspecies, which was isolated only in 2005. The habitat of the subspecies extends to the Qinling Mountains, which is in western China. It has smaller dimensions, and the color of the subspecies is brown and white, instead of black and white. The color of the animal is associated with the characteristics of habitats, as well as the diet. The panda's habitat is large and extends to such provinces of China as Gansu, Sichuan, and Shaanxi, while the animal is found exclusively in mountainous areas. More recently, these animals could also be found on flat terrain, but excessive human economic activity forced these animals to move to mountainous regions. Important point. To date, the habitat of the giant panda is limited to only 30,000 square kilometers. The natural habitats of pandas are characterized by high mountain forests, with the obligatory presence of bamboo plantations. Panda diet. Giant pandas are carnivores, although their diet consists of 90% plant foods. As a rule, it is based on bamboo, so they eat it in large quantities. One adult is able to eat about 30 kilograms of bamboo in one day so as not to be hungry. In this case, the animal can get the missing calories with other vegetation and fruits. Replenishment of the body with protein is carried out at the expense of various insects, eggs of birds, fish, and other small living creatures. Pandas can easily eat carrion. Reproduction and offspring. The breeding season of the giant panda occurs once every 2 years, and the process itself lasts only 3 days. The female basically gives birth to 1 cub, although it happens that there are 2 cubs, but very rarely, while, as a rule, only one, stronger, remains alive. Giant pandas are ready for breeding only for 4 to 6 years of life. From this it follows that the process of reproduction in these animals does not differ in activity, which leads to a decrease in the population in natural conditions. The female carries the future offspring for 5 months, after which the offspring is born, which is completely dependent on the cares of his mother. When born, the baby weighs no more than 150 grams, but after a couple of months its weight can be about 4 kilograms, and by 6 months, up to 10 kilograms. The baby is fed with mother's milk every 2 hours, while the female can sleep, eat, or move somewhere. All this time she keeps him in her paws. The cub is born blind and helpless, but after 3 weeks his eyes open. At the same time, it becomes overgrown with wool and becomes like a real bamboo bear. At 3 months old, he is already on his feet and taking his first steps, although not without the supervision of his mother. Only a year later, he stops eating milk, and by the age of 1.5, he becomes a completely independent animal. Natural enemies. Giant pandas have no natural enemies other than humans. Due to the fact that the beast has an attractive color, its fur is worth a lot of money on the black market. In addition, people often capture these unique animals for zoos. This animal is listed in the International Red Book as a species on the verge of extinction. In the wild, there are no more than 2,000 of them. In our time, every animal counts, although during the years of the Cultural Revolution in China, giant pandas were shot for valuable fur. After that, the state of China took serious measures to save this unique animal. In this country, for the destruction of a panda, you can go to the gallows. At the same time, nature reserves are being actively created. The problem lies in the fact that pandas practically do not breed in captivity. If a baby panda was born in any zoo, then this is a world-class event. It is necessary to know. Bamboo bear in China has the status of a national treasure. One local farmer who killed a panda in 1995 was given a life sentence. Giant pandas are kept in many zoos around the world, in countries such as China, USA, UK, South Korea, and Switzerland. Nowadays, the giant panda is not just rare, but the rarest animal that is found only in China. Not so long ago, the panda could be found in Indochina and on the island of Kalimantan. Many factors influence the decline in the number of these interesting animals. Firstly, pandas have low sexual activity, which creates certain problems for the reproduction of the animal, and secondly, human economic activity leads to the fact that animals are forced to leave their natural habitats rich in food. As a result, the lack of food leads to the systematic extinction of the species. For one skin of a panda, a peasant could get so much money that he could not earn them in a lifetime. This pushed some people to crime. The death penalty was punishable by killing an animal until 1980, but even this measure stopped few people. The prospect of a comfortable existence seemed so tempting. The disappearance of bamboo groves is another but more significant problem these days. Bamboo has been growing for a quarter of a century. After the bamboo blooms and produces seeds, the plant dies, and the seeds germinate only after a few years. This is such a metamorphosis, and for a panda this is absolutely unacceptable.